is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video here today. Hope all of you are having a great one as always. Now, in today's video, I want to go ahead and discuss some information relating to Donald Trump and Bitcoin. And yes, when those two things are in a sentence together, things tend to get interesting. But anyway, guys, I'll be discussing why Donald Trump might be implementing a new policy which could affect Bitcoin in a big way. However, it might not necessarily be what you're expecting. So anyway, folks, with that being said, that's what I'll be breaking down, bringing to the table. I'll be giving all of you my opinion up front and kind of covering everything, just to give all of you the details, and then we'll be getting into these straight facts. So anyway, folks, if you do like the video, go ahead, drop it a like, do subscribe, and do share for more. Those things help the channel out a ton. And check out the Bitcoin shirts below the video if you'd like to support the channel and spread the word of Bitcoin. Anyway, folks, with that being said, let's go ahead and discuss this. What exactly is Donald Trump doing? What exactly is he doing that will affect the Bitcoin market? So, first things first, let's go ahead and talk about remittances. Now, what exactly are remittances? Well, remittances are something that really make the economy of the world go round, and they're kind of insignificant in terms of our overall coverage of the financial world. Basically, what I'm saying is remittances are sort of a secret aspect of the economy that not many people actually cover, but they have a huge impact on how things go around. So remittances are sums of money sent back to family members in foreign countries by immigrants. Now, immigrants, either illegal or legal, send remittances back to their families because they're likely earning more money here in the United States or in other developed nations than they would be at home. In other words, they're supporting their families, sending money back, and remittances are traded in huge volumes between nations. The United States actually has billions of dollars of remittances sent out of it each and every year to nations of the individuals that might be living here. So it's big news. It is a big economic factor that's oftentimes overlooked simply because it's kind of performed by people that are in society but aren't quite as influential as other individuals. A lot of people don't have any reason to worry about remittances, so many people just don't think about it. But here is the key thing. Remittances amount for a huge sum of money going back and forth, a huge volume being traded. That is the first thing to really realize. Remittances are significant whether people realize that or not. Another thing to consider is that remittances right now are either taxed by banks or they manage to slip by the financial system and pass from family to family member without any sort of taxation or any reprimandation. Basically, a lot of remittances are flying under the radar and are being sent back to their home nations without any sort of regulation. That is good and bad depending on how you look at it. Of course, that means if an illegal immigrant is working here and he sends remittances back to his family without them being, disclosed or anything like that, there is obviously money being lost because taxes could be taken on that money. Now, I gotta say, I don't support excessive government taxation. In fact, I don't necessarily know if the government should tax at all. But with that being said, if illegal immigrants are making money here and are sending it home with no taxes being paid, that is at least slightly damaging, although probably not all that damaging, to the United States economy. So here's the thing to really recognize, okay? Most remittances right now are sent in the form of fiat currencies, and that means that they lose a lot of value or can be tracked fairly easily across national borders. We may see soon, okay, because of policies being implemented by Donald Trump and other world leaders, a major transition of remittances from fiat currencies to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Obviously, these currencies being cryptic, that's very beneficial, Cryptocurrencies can be traded between various nations, really at the push of a button, and that makes them very consistent and reliable, as well as convenient, on top of many other beneficial factors. So if remittances are taxed more heavily, if they are regulated more heavily, I think that we will see more and more immigrants actually sending remittances back in the form of cryptocurrencies, which would be really interesting. As I've discussed many times in the recent past, mass adoption is really what's going to carry us forward with crypto's development, especially in developing nations. And remittances go hand in hand with that concept. They are, in certain regards, money being sent back to the developing world from developed nations. That is another sign of economic growth heading to other countries. So that's the spiel on remittances and Bitcoin, okay? Obviously, we know if greater amounts of Bitcoin are being bought and Bitcoin is being used to transact on a daily basis for millions of dollars of remittances, that would obviously have an impact on Bitcoin's price. The more remittances are used and are actually used with Bitcoin, okay, the higher the price of Bitcoin will theoretically climb. So that's something that's really interesting to consider. Now, how the hell does Donald Trump come into all of this? Because right now, that's probably what you're wondering. Well, let's go ahead and discuss this, okay? What exactly is he doing? So Donald Trump and his administration are looking to find ways to increase pressure on illegal immigration and countries from which people overstay their short-term US visas as he gears up for what's likely to be an immigration-heavy re-election campaign. And it could absolutely push people toward Bitcoin. So Trump, who will be seeking his second term as US president in 2020, is weighing a remittance tax on money sent home by people living in the United States illegally, potentially making Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies more attractive to people as they seek to avoid government-monitored channels of sending money across borders. So, in other words, people are examining other choices for remittances instead of fiat currencies. Bitcoin use may already be up due to Trump's potential plans for a remittance tax, with several countries that rank highly for immigration to the United States, including Mexico and some South American countries, reporting record levels of Bitcoin trading over the past week. So, in other words, this speculation that Donald Trump might do something with immigration and remittances is already sparking an increase in Bitcoin interest, which is really fascinating to think about. Even a hint of more regulation leads to fighting back with the adoption of cryptocurrencies. Very interesting stuff. So the data gathered by CoinDance, which monitors Bitcoin and cryptocurrency use around the world, and first reported by Bitcoin trade news site Bitcoinist, shows Bitcoin trading volumes on peer-to-peer exchange platforms, local coins, Paxful, and Bisq in certain regions has been spiking since the news of Trump's plans for a remittance tax first broke. Both Mexico and Venezuela set all-time trading records on the local Bitcoin exchange fairly recently, with Mexico moving more than $500,000 over the period via the exchange. So White House plans for a remittance tax could resemble proposals laid out by former Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach, it has been reported. And to quote Kobach in a conversation he had with Breitbart last week, quote, "The threat to illegal immigrants I propose is one that actually helps the United States if we follow through on it. That is the threat of ending remittances from the majority of people in the United States from Mexico who are here illegally. That is a threat that we could carry through on that actually helps our economy because the money is not sent home. It stays in circulation in the United States economy and helps rev up our economy. It's actually a good thing if we follow through." Meanwhile, White House spokesman Hogan Gidley told the Associated Press news agency that targeting remittances is a possibility, and Gidley actually said, and I quote, "It is a top priority for the administration, as has been for 2 years, to reduce overstay rates for visas and the visa waiver program. And it's well known that the administration is working to ensure faithful implementation of immigration welfare rules to protect American taxpayers." And U.S. officials reported a record 53,000 families were apprehended on the southern U.S. border in March, though Democrats argue that Trump's administration is exacerbating the problem. Now, I'm not going to get into the politics of this too much because this isn't a political channel, but this is something that very well could affect the price of Bitcoin. Using Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to send money across borders more cheaply and quickly than banks and traditional money transfer services has long been one of the most promising use cases for crypto. However, banks and money services have been quick to adopt new technologies over recent years, allowing them to improve their services and remain competitive. Government sanctions on remittances could, though, prove to be the trigger that pushes people toward Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, as capital controls have done in other parts of the world. And Kobach even added to his statement, and this is really interesting, and I quote, "There will always be ways to circumvent things you put in place." So even he is admitting here that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin could very likely circumvent these regulations. Anyway guys, no matter how you feel politically, this is very interesting stuff, and Bitcoin could actually have a big impact, or could actually be impacted greatly by these new policies. prices could absolutely rocket and see all-time highs, and see a great deal of new usability. That would be very exciting. But anyway, folks, that is my take on the whole thing. I want to get all of your opinions now in the comments section below, so let me know what all of you are thinking as always. And I will see all of you in the next video. Have a good one, folks, and adios.